Hello and welcome back to my channel. I am Tiff from Journal with Tiff, and today I'm going to be doing my currently inked pens for October. What am I excited about? It's fall, y'all. This is my favorite season. I could live with this weather all year. I love sweater weather. I love just the brisk coolness of the season. And just the colors, just in nature. I just absolutely love the colors. And so yeah, I was really excited for this month to come. I just really was kind of meticulous about the pens I chose, the inks I chose, because I really wanted that fall vibe. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first pen that I will be inking will be the Waterman Karin, and this is in the Marine Amber colorway. This is fairly new to me pen. I haven't had it for very long, and this is the first time I'm using it in a currently inked. I have used it before, but never really delved into it with a particular ink to see exactly, my thoughts and what I thought about it. It's a very popular pen. And I just had to get it just to see what the hype is. So it won't necessarily be an unboxing coming, but definitely a review at some point once I've kind of used it and familiarized myself with this pen. It does have an 18 karat inlaid nib, which I think is gorgeous. The pen is stunning. And the color, excuse me, is just gorgeous. To me, this screams either fall or Christmas. It could be either one because it is a deep reddish brown. The body of it and the cap with the gold trim, love it. Just from the looks of it. And let's not get ahead of yourself. I'm going to be inking this, or this is inked, with Colorverse Hubble Zoom. And I'm going to be doing my color swatches with my Kakamori steel nib on my dip pen. This is a gorgeous color. Love it. All right. And as before, what I've decided to do is to utilize the same setup for currently inked, and then I'll come back. I'll just leave a good amount of space to write all of my thoughts about the pen, the ink, and the combination at the end of the month. All right, this is the Waterman. Paper's kind of bubbling up a little bit. And this is in a fine nib. I was really hoping that this came in an extra fine. It does not. It comes in like fine and medium. And this is the Marine Amber colorway. And it is inked with Colorverse Hubble Zoom. I chose Hubble Zoom because I just feel like the colors matched so well. And of course, we're going to get a closer look once all of the inks have dried. But this color is like, it's a medium brown with like a reddish purple undertone. So yeah, I just felt like the pen and ink just matched perfectly, and I just felt like it would be such a really good match. I love Colorverse inks, and hopefully this is gonna work out great. Next is my Twisp Eco, and this is in the Cafe Bronze. This is absolutely screaming fall or autumn with the bronze trim. I'm so glad they went with bronze instead of rose gold because the blend, the colorway is just perfect. I had a Twisp in my lineup last month again this month, but I mean, I'm just saying you can't go wrong with the Twisp, and it is inked with Diamond Walnut from Inkvent last year. All right, this is the Twisp Eco. This has a fine, this is a steel nib, and this is in the Cafe Bronze. And this is inked with Diamond Walnut. Now, I'm going to admit I have not used walnut very often, just because I felt like it was just such a plain flat brown. So I honestly, this is going to be a true experiment with this particular ink, because I honestly, like I said, haven't really used it much at all. It's not, I know Diamond has different types of inks. This is not a shimmer or a chameleon. This is listed as a standard, so it's basically a flat ink. But I just felt like that's just a perfect color, a deep brown with this particular pen color, and I'm hoping it'll work out great. I'm hoping that the walnut will come across as pretty as I'm hoping that it will, and once it's dried, we'll definitely get a better look at that. Next is the Bone Crusher 7 Studio. This is in the pistachio colorway, and again, another pen that just screamed fall to me. This has, I hope you can see it and the light is not glaring on it. I really wish I had some just natural daylight. But it is the background is like a really deep green with chips of, I guess you could say, like a light brown, tan, copper color. It is, I see light brown, I see copper, I see a little bit of tan, but to me, this just screams fall. And one of my, don't get ahead of yourself, Tiff, one of my favorite pens, and I have it inked with, what are you inked with? Oh, Diamond Ancient Copper. I'm about to make a mess over here. Definitely a super well-known ink used by so many. Gosh, I love these pens. Bone Crusher 7 Studio. This has an extra fine Yovo nib. To me, Yovo nibs can really be hit or miss. I've gotten some that, and an extra fine that writes pretty much like a Western extra fine, and others that write super fine. Like, I'm surprised it's a Yovo nib. So this one I'm pretty much okay with. And again, this is inked with Diamond Ancient Copper. I can tell this is, if I could predict the future, I'm going to predict that I'm going to really like this combination. Ancient Copper definitely could pass for like an orange black. I've always loved it. It's always been one of my favorite inks. So I cannot wait to utilize this pen and ink combination this month. So here we have the Bone Crusher gosh, I cannot talk. Bone Crusher 7 Studio, and I'm not sure if I said the colorway, but it's pistachio with Diamond Ancient Copper. Next is the Pilot Capas, aka Vanishing Point. This is in the whiskey model. It's a limited edition, and when I saw this one come out, I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get this. I love this colorway. It's basically an ombre for with brown, the gold trim, and this has an 18 karat extra fine nib. And I just love the matte feeling of this pen. It's just absolutely lovely. And I have this inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. As far as Ferris Wheel Press goes, I have a love-hate relationship with this brand simply because it's just, I love the colors. They just tend to be so dry to me lots of times, and I just can't, I cannot deal with the dryness. But this is one that is not very dry for me, so I love this color, and I'm just getting ink everywhere. All right, this is the Pilot Capless. And it writes so smooth, super smooth. I have no idea why I can't get my words out today. AKA Vanishing Point. And this has an extra fine nib inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. I need to go back and see what steeped umber, like what that means. But love this color. Always have. It was one of my first Ferris Wheel Press inks. It came from the Finer Things collection, and this might be the only one from that collection that I have, but I'm not sure. But it's such a gorgeous deep reddish brown. It's very saturated. It's not dry. So in this extra fine nib, it should do really well. So cannot wait to try that combination. Next, I have a Walltown pen. This is in Calico Koi. When you say fall, of course, I'm saying, look at this. My only drawback to this pen is that I'm drawn to the deep browns and oranges, and this side right here kind of screws it up for me. It's just a little too much white in that area, but the rest of it's fine. It did come with because I bought this secondhand, a medium Yovo nib, and so what I did was I switched it out and I switched it for a fine Esterbrook nib. It fits perfectly, no issues. And I have this inked with Venta Ochre. I hope I'm saying that correctly. 1797. Ochre. I'm not sure. I don't. Seems like it's French, but I did go and look to see, like, because especially since it has a name in the year, like, okay, where does that come from? But come to find out that this ink is named, it represents the materials that were made for Iloilo. I believe I'm saying that right. It's a city in the Philippines, and there's a church that's pretty famous, and that's what this ink color represents. And please, please, please forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. All right, and this is in the Calico Koi with an Esterbrook fine nib. Let me make sure. Is this a fine? Because it's writing mighty thick. Yep, it's a fine. And this is inked with $17.97. I'm not going to attempt to continue to mispronounce all this stuff and just totally tear everything up. But yeah, I felt like that was going to be such a beautiful combination. Cannot wait to try that one. Next is the MontiGra Venetia, and this is in the Conifer colorway. I love this pen. I picked this up at the Atlanta Pen Show this year, and just the chips, the chatoyance, it's just gorgeous. I absolutely love it. And this has an extra fine steel nib. Can you see that nib? Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And this is inked with Diamine Green Edition Olive Swirl. Now, this is, let me shake this up because this is a shimmer ink. And I do not normally ink my pens with the shimmer. I'm not sure if I got much of the shimmer. I'll try just a little bit more. There we go. Hopefully I got some in there. All right, this is MontiGra Venetia in the conifer colorway, and this has an extra fine steel nib. Now, I'm not sure how it looks on camera. I hope you can see the green coming through, but because the nib is so fine, I feel like it looks a lot darker than the swatch. This is Diamine Olive Swirl. And I'm not exactly sure what possessed me to do this because, like I said, I normally don't draw up the shimmer in my pens simply because I tend to use fine or extra fine nibs, and I am just paranoid about the shimmer clogging the feed. But I don't know, I just thought I'd try it this time. And it's weird because this is a super extra fine. This writes more extra fine than most of my extra fine nibs, but thus far right here, no problem. Hopefully the shimmer will come through once this ink has dried and we'll be able to see it better. So looking forward to trying that one out. And lastly is my Pelicon M800 in the brown black, and I have this inked with, this is Colorverse String. The reason I went for this particular ink is because this nib has a custom needlepoint grind by Kirk Spear himself, and he actually did 2 pens for me, both the needlepoint, but this one is just so much sharper than my other Pelicon. That one's in a needlepoint as well, but this one is just so much sharper, and so I definitely can't have a dry ink in here. And so historically my Colorverse inks have been fairly wet for me. I've not had any problems with them, so I'm hoping it will be okay for this pen. All right. Let's see here. It's also so fine that I've kind of tried to learn not to write too hard, because if I'm pressing down too hard, it absolutely will come across as scratchy. So this is it almost sounds like it has feedback that it didn't have before. This has Colorverse String. So yeah, love this color, and I'm hoping it will work out well in this particular pen because this is such a light brown with like a golden undertone. And just in this pen, I just felt it looks, I mean, come on, this is like my classiest pen. I absolutely love it. This needlepoint is super fine, like I said, but it does still have bounce. Generally speaking, my Colorverse Again, they've not been dry, so I'm hoping that this will be a really good combination. All right, so let's get a little closer and check out each pen and the ink. First was the Waterman Karin in the Marine Amber colorway, and it is inked with Colorverse Hubble Zoom. Next is the Twisp Eco in the Cafe Bronze, and it is inked with Diamond Walnut. Here I have the Bone Crusher 7 Studio in Pistachio, and this is inked with Diamond Ancient Copper. Here at the top is the Pilot Capas, aka the Vanishing Point, in Whiskey. That is the colorway. I'm not sure if I mentioned that earlier. And this is inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. In the second column here, I have Walltown Pen and Calico Koi. This has an Esterbrook fine nib in it that I've changed for with Venta Ochre 1797. The MontiGra of Venetia in Conifer with an extra fine nib. It is inked with Diamine Olive Swirl, and you can see the shimmer there. Sometime I see pink, sometime I see green. In the monitor, I purely see green, but face to face in the right angle, I see pink in there as well. And lastly is the Pelicon M800 with a needlepoint nib, and it's inked with Colorverse String. So these are all of my pens and inks for the month. Cannot wait to use them. You guys, thank you so much for watching. Please leave any comments if you have any. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hope to talk to you guys soon. Bye.